Today is Monday morning, and I just got here to the studio, and I want to show you guys a daffodil tree that I finished on Saturday. I didn't film on Saturday, but definitely was here working on this. Finished painting the base, finished painting the sword, and the sword here. We also did finish the horns. So I had finished painting the horns for the other one, but then when I actually assembled the statue with the horns on, I noticed that the horns were not accurate to the painting. They were different. The shape was different, and also the horn had texture of bones, and the painting, the horns are metal. They are shiny silver, not bone colors. So that was a thing I had not noticed until I started looking at the painting for so long during the painting process. So what we did was we went back to the 3D sculpture. We re-sculpted the horns. Aaron actually did that. He re-sculpted the horns in the shape that is the correct shape. And then we got rid of the bone texture on the horns, and then we reprinted them on Saturday. And so now we have the horns that are in the right shape and the right texture, ready for the statue. So this is actually the last thing that it's left to do, is to get those horns painted. I'm going to be doing this right now, and then the statue will be ready. We are going to take pictures, professional, studio pictures here, the daffodil, probably tomorrow. Today is a holiday. Today is Memorial Day, so Spencer is not here. He didn't come to work today. Aaron and I, we are here, but so Spencer took like a day off. And so I will be taking pictures with him tomorrow, because he is my helper. He helps me when we are taking pictures of the statues. So, but yeah, the daffodil tree is ready. Gonna get those horns done right now, and then we're gonna have it up for pre-orders probably this week, and that's it. Let's keep moving with our day. So as I said just now, we have printed two new horns for the daffodil tree, because we figured that the first one that we printed wasn't right. So this is the second pair of horns that we haven't cleaned yet. We printed them on Saturday, 2 pairs, and so we're gonna just finish cleaning the second pair now, so I can go and paint finish painting that. Well, the first thing, we put the horns in there, close the lid here, and on the machine, and on there, okay, the water, and put the gloves on. So it's ready. We just cleaned it. These we won't even bother to make molds, because we printed 2 So one is the master painting that we're gonna keep with us and we take to the Comic-Con, and the other we're gonna be sending to the factory anyway. So we won't bother to make molds. It's just would waste too much time to do that. So let's get them painted now. So Aaron, how you doing with the Barbarian?
Well, it's coming along.
Coming along?
I still have to shorten the legs. Actually, I wanted to have you look at it today before well, we were going to make the head a little bit bigger, so I should probably sculpt on that today, but if you wanted to look at this.
Oh my. Wow. It's starting to make a huge difference from what it was.
Right. I still have, quite a bit of work to do, but it's starting to come together. I've made most of the changes at this point that we talked about, and I still have like marks on here where I need to change things, and I still want to dig some of this stuff in a little bit deeper.
You can see that you changed already the bones here.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like the muscles of the chest now. They look more natural.
Yeah, and I dug in, all these areas in here. So, it's getting there. It's funny too that the head actually looks bigger now.
Well, you reduce the body size by a lot,
yes,
by carving all those details.
Right. So, but I think, like we went through all those measurements and the head technically seems to be the right size, but I think it could still, if we're going to go by our gut feeling here, still needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yes, I agree. It feels like the head should be bigger in relation to the torso.
Right. And then
if you look at the painting.
Yeah. So then the other thing that'll help too, I think, is shortening the legs a little bit. So
because the way that Frazetta portrayed the Barbarian here was as a short man.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
So that's how he envisioned him. So you got to be truthful to that.
I'm gonna take some length out of the legs. It'll make him a little bit shorter, and make the head a little bit bigger, and then I think proportionally he'll be where he needs to be. So
I agree. I'm liking the torso a lot more now. I think that it's much more accurate to the painting now.
Yeah.
Well, that's looked good.
So we're getting there. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally starting to feel good about it after a year.
It's just 1 year, right?
A few things happened in the meantime.
Yeah, I know. We all know that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get. Okay, so I got all 4 horns here for the depth dealer. I'm going to be painting them now and then be done with the depth dealer. So the first thing I'll do is primer the horns before I start painting. So those 4 horns just came out of the printer. We didn't even make molds, anything. We just got it from the printer. We washed it, cleaned it, and we're gonna paint it. Doesn't matter because they come perfect out of the printer. And that's it. Let's wait for this primer to dry for about 10 minutes, and then I can come and paint them. We have started printing our Medusa versus Perseus versus Medusa diorama in 1/6 scale. So we have got the cape already done and printed. This is the cape, Perseus cape. That's done. We also got already the scabbard for Perseus sword. We have printed already and it's done, ready for molds. We also printed the helmet, as I was showing on Friday night, before the movie cut out. So we have the helmet and the wings that are on the helmet too. We have printed them too. And then on Sunday, when Aaron was here, he started printing the legs for the piercers. But unfortunately, we had a problem with our printer that it overheated on Sunday because the temperature outside was way too hot. It was over 81 degrees already because we are getting closer to the summer. And unfortunately, the studio air conditioning unit is still not working. So the printer overheated and it stopped. So because of that, we lost the print, and halfway done. As you can see, there was already the legs here being printed. We managed to finish printing the 2 wings that go on the shoes, on his boots, but the legs didn't finish. And unfortunately, there is no way after the machine stops to go and restart the print. So we lost those 2 parts here. We lost a little bit of material. We lost, about 5 hours work here, and we're gonna have to restart. But we can't do that until we get the air conditioning situation with the studio solved. So I was hoping that we wouldn't get those high temperatures until later in June, but unfortunately the the temperatures start rising sooner than I expected, and we didn't have the air conditioning yet working order. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to take a 2 days break at least or more with the printer. We don't want this to happen again. So until the air conditioning is fixed, we won't be able to keep printing the piercers. But that happens. It's part of the job too. This is one of the medusa heads for the Perseus diorama that we are producing now. And I'm working on the fitting of the snakes on the head. We had to print the snakes in 3 separate parts so we can actually make molds of them. So now, because this was a very complicated cutting on the 3D file, I am working on the fitting of the snakes on the head, so it requires a little bit of extra work on this.
How were you planning to make molds for this? Were you just going to do a box mold, or were you going to clay it?
A box.
Alright. Because we do have an issue here that I'm somewhat concerned about, where this arm comes down close to his oblique here. I'm worried about, this area.
A box mold. We'll cut it this way.
Right. But rubber's going to get trapped
I
in
know.
here, and when you try to pull that out, it might tear. You could put a shim in there, like a very, thin piece of, I don't know.
Can we just make the arm touch the body there
Yeah.
without changing the anatomy?
Well,
Is there a belt here or
yes,
something?
yeah. There's like a ring like or band that goes around there, and it would touch in here.
If the band goes touch this, then the problem is solved, because this
Right.
is easy to solve.
Yes.
I
Okay.
can just slice the silicone here,
Yes.
and then that would be fine.
Right.
If this opening is that
Yeah.
makes it a little
Okay.
harder to.
Then that's fine. That's what we'll do. The band will touch the oblique there.
Okay.
So, all right.
No concern.
Okay.
The hand goes way deep inside the snake's body.
Oh yeah.
I'm having to make a cut on the snake and fill it with epoxy. So it will be nice because we can't see anything there, you know,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
needs to work when you
Yeah.
put them together.
Right.
But I'm just worried about the magnet. If since this is going inside the snake, if we have enough room for the magnet there.
Yeah.
But I think there is.
Yeah. There should be.
But there was no way for anyone to see this,
Right.
you know, the way it was sculpted. One other thing that we are going to need to do here is to thicken the helmet from inside. So I'm going to apply some epoxy clay on the inside of the helmet to make the walls thicker, or we'll have problem reproducing it. So the print came out perfect, but it's too thin, and definitely need some revisions here. Do you have the wings that go on the helmet?
Oh yeah. They I didn't clean them off.
Do you have one at least?
It's kind of clean.
Those wings here, definitely I'm not going to bother making molds for them. So let's just print 2 pairs for the boots too. Did you watch Game of Thrones yesterday? No? They arrested the queen mother.
Oh wow.
The same Chris that arrested the other one, the younger one. He arrested her too. I think that was well deserved.
Is it for incest?
No. Well, they didn't say why, but you know that's what happens when you give too much power to someone.
you know.
Yeah.
She did it so she could get rid of the other.
Right.
Now it turns against her. I think that was well done.
The show certainly takes a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what keeps the show interesting to watch. We have cast the Aryan base yesterday. I already went downstairs and I cleaned the bottom here, and did put some little bit of epoxy here and here to fix. Sorry, to fix you know, a couple of small holes that I got on the casting. So the base is now ready. Now what I'm gonna do is to drill a hole on Aryan boot here, and have a pin, metal pin, to keep her standing on the base. Piece of wire. Okay, so put this in. Super glue.
So we have ended up making some changes on Arian because we decided to shorten her legs a little bit. So unfortunately, once we did that, we created another problem that we would have to remake molds for the ties. So, but that's not a big deal. So that's why I can't start painting Arian yet, because we will have to make molds again for these parts here. These 3 parts, we need molds for it again. So I'm gonna make those molds today, have a casting tomorrow, and then finish and start painting area tomorrow. At least start with the priming process and etc. So yeah, I'm gonna lose a couple of days because of this, but it happens. The important is the final result. The statue has to be perfect. This one here we don't have to change because this will be the master paint for the factory, and for the factory it doesn't matter if her leg is a little shorter or longer. They just want to see the colors. They won't make molds of this, they will make molds of the master print. So that one I don't need to change, but the second one here that will be at the Comic-Con, I want this to be perfect, and to be perfect we need to make those molds again. So yeah, I just added a little bit of epoxy clay here on the inside, and as soon as this epoxy is hard, I will start the molds for these parts, making the final adjustments. Final adjustments here before we can start the molds.
much did you sharpen it? A quarter of an inch or something?
Probably a quarter of an inch, yeah.
Funny, we had the same problem with Aaron. Long ties.
Yeah, I'll be more careful next time.
I know you like long ties. Well, the day today is definitely slow. I feel like going home. Every 5 minutes I feel like I'm going home.
So as I said, we got the horns here. They are already painted black. We had cast the horns before, but they turned out to be different in the painting. And then actually, it was not Caleb's fault by sculpting the horns different, because actually what he did was try to match the shape of the horn with the painting. And yesterday, not yesterday, it was Saturday, when Aaron and I, we were re-sculpting those horns, we noticed that if you look at the sculpture through the same view of the painting, then to get the horns the way they look in the painting, you have to have those long horns, just like Caleb sculpted. But then if you turn the statue from the front view, and then the horns are wrong. They have to touch the helmet here. So actually, what happened is the painting is a 2D image, and the statue is a 3D. So not everything that works in 2D translates to 3D. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So what we tried to do was to make the horns look right without, being too close to the helmet here like it was before, but at the same time trying to keep closer to the painting. But so this is the best we could come up with. So now I'm going to paint. And then also one mistake that Caleb did was that he sculpted the horns as if they were bone kind of horns, and like natural horns. But the painting shows clearly that they are all silver and have no texture in them. So I assume that Frazetta thought of those horns as metal. So what I'm going to do, what we did was we removed the texture of the horn. Now it's smooth, and we're going to paint them silver instead of painting them like real horns, like bones or real antlers or horns or whatever. So same technique here that I use for the rest of the metal. We'll start with the aluminum. In this case here, I want those horns to be very, very, very shiny, metallic. So I'm going to apply a extra dose of the silver to make it very shiny and to try to match the painting. dry for a few minutes, then give it the wash, and that will be ready. Gotta clean my super hands. But you know, you can wear gloves if you want for that, but I don't care anymore at this point. I get my hands dirty, just yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's clean my hands. One hand is full of paint, the other hand is full of epoxy clay. So I'll be back here in half an hour or so. So yes, now I'm here with Depth Dealer 3, both totally finished. Today is Saturday, it's Monday, and it's about 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and I finished both. Both completely done. I've been working on those two statues for like 4 days or 5 days, painting them. Yeah, so I guess 4 days at least. So I've shown you guys the process through our videos, and here's the completed piece. This one here, it's coming to the New York Comic Con with me. This one here is shipping to the factory tomorrow. So, or this will to the factory and this comes to the Comic Con. It doesn't matter, they are both identical. And I will be taking pictures tomorrow, the professional studio pictures of those two statues, and then I'll be posting some teaser pictures online immediately tomorrow, and the pre-orders will probably be up by the end of this week or something. Yeah, we still need to figure out a few other things before the pre-order goes up. But as you guys can see, the full statue is completed. We had a last minute change on the horns. The horns we had before, they were not matching the painting, and well, they were kind of matching, kind of not matching, because I know what Caleb did. He tried to be truthful to the horns, how they look in the painting, and that made the horns to be too attached to the helmet and too long and the wrong curvature, because he was trying to reproduce in 3D a 2D image, and it's impossible. So we had to interpret that, and then we made the corrections on the horns, and we also removed the texture that he had sculpted on the horns to make it look like natural horns, animal horns. And now we made the horn totally smooth, and we painted it silver like the painting. The horns are not bone, they are metal. So we did that. We hung the sword here in the back. Very interesting. We have a ring and then the chain that holds the sword. The sword is totally movable here. We apply the blood to the base, and that's it, and we finish it. So now I'm done with this. I honestly am tired of painting that Dealer 3. Now I'm going to move on to Arian. So we have two statues already cast. We have the base cast, and if it wasn't for the two small changes we made to the ties, and that we knew we're going to need new molds for it. But that's no big deal. I can get those molds done in 24 hours, and so by the day after tomorrow, we'll start painting Arian too. So stay tuned for next paint job is Arian. And while we're painting Arian, we are printing the Perseus versus Medusa and processing, making molds, etc., etc., etc. So this is how it's going to go. From now on, we're going to be moving much faster than we have for the last few months, because all the statues, the sculpture, digital sculpture are pretty much done for most of them, and we're gonna just start printing, making molds, painting, printing, making molds, painting, printing, making molds, painting. So that's the process from today to the day of the Comic Con, and I'm going to be filming everything so you guys can follow us. Okay, so that's it for now. So I have finished painting the Death Dealer 3, and I'm working on finishing the last molds for Arian, since we decided to redo the legs. They were too long, and so I'm working on those things, probably get those molds done tomorrow. So, and pretty much I have nothing else to do, so I'm going to, I have tons of other things to do, but at this point there's nothing I can do but wait. So I have to wait on those things that I'm doing on there. So I'm going to work a little bit now on Poseidon. Poseidon is one of the statues we're going to be producing this year, finally, at the Comic Con. And Poseidon was originally sculpted by Alex Pereira. And we decided that we wanted to make a few changes to the sculpture, fix a few things we were not totally satisfied with. And so right now what I'm doing is working on the anatomy of the statue. And once I have the anatomy done, I'm going to be passing it along to someone else to finish, probably Aaron or Caleb or someone else. But at least I'm going to get the anatomy done. And once the anatomy done, someone else will finish it. We have had so many people asking us to change those dolphins for some other thing. And it's a shame, because I honestly, the dolphins were my idea, and I really think that it's beautiful to have those dolphins jumping out of the water. But what good does it does if I make something that only I enjoy and nobody else likes it? So we decided to create another fish. And then so we can offer both options. If you like the dolphins, you keep the dolphins. If you don't like the dolphins, you have the other fish. But definitely it won't be a shark, because sharks don't jump out of the water like that. So whoever wants a shark, forget about it. We won't do a shark, because as I said, sharks don't jump. But it will probably be one of those mythological fishes we see along with Poseidon's images on the internet. And Aaron and I, we did some research, and we found some very interesting images of some mythological fish. I think it's an extinct fish or something that, then we will use that image to put in the place of the dolphins. So yeah, let me then start here. And I'll show you guys a little bit how it's looking right now. What I basically did, let me get the camera closer. Can I zoom in as much as I can there? Okay. So what we did here was basically start the whole anatomy from scratch. We dynameshed the whole thing. We lowered the resolution of the statue, and so we could actually re-sculpt the whole anatomy. And this is what I've been doing for for the past couple of times I worked on this statue. Been posing and re-sculpting the anatomy. Another thing that we did too was that we cut the statue in half here on the waist, the waistline, and then we mirrored the legs. So the way it was before, this leg, the left leg, was the one that was bent, and the right leg was the one. So sorry. The left leg was the one that was straight, and the right leg was the one that was bent. So it was the opposite. It's like a mirror image of the leg. And so I didn't actually like that, because we had the bent arm and the bent leg on the same side, and then a straight arm and a straight leg on the same side. And so that gave him very little movement with his body. So so I decided to switch, mirror the legs this way, and then I twisted the torso some more. So now instead of a straight line torso, he's leaning to this side, and then making this beautiful arch here, with like in a much more aggressive and much more movement. Also the trident that he was holding in a straight line, vertical straight line position, now it has some more movement on a diagonal, like that. So of course this base here is just a temporary base for me to while I'm sculpting the body. And once I finish the anatomy, we will use the same base that Alex Pereira has sculpted with those waves and the water, and the waves that were so beautifully done. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be doing right now. I'm gonna keep working on the anatomy, and then tomorrow I'll go back on Arian and see if I can get those molds done. So we do a little bit here. First, let me change the color here. More clay-like color. I'm still posing the body, posing and correcting the basic shapes of the body. I'm not yet actually sculpting the muscles. I'm just correcting the pose and the major muscle groups that were out of place. And then once I get everything corrected, the length of the arm, and all those things there, I think that should be corrected, and then I will start sculpting. So that's why right now it looks like there's no definition on anything. It's because we are still working on this basic shape. So right now I think that the length of the forearm here is too long, so I'm gonna shorten it a little bit. So what I do is I mask half of it here, and then I blur, inverse the mask, go to move, and then I just make it shorter. Now that the forearm is a little shorter, then I go back here and keep pushing it and moving everything here. To the right position. Basically right now what we do is keep turning it and turning it and turning it and looking at it from every different possible angle, and then seeing if those volumes are in the right place. I'm not even sculpting yet. I'm not even looking for muscle definition or anything. I'm just looking for the volume on the muscles and the position, if they are in the right position and in the right volume, right size, and that's pretty much what I'm doing yet. You see, the way I see and the way I manage ARH Studios is that I am not here in a competition with anyone, nor I have a competition between the sculptors that work for ARH Studios or anything like that. We are all a team, and we are all seeking the same results. So it doesn't matter who does what or who is better in one thing or another. This is not what we are looking at ARH Studios. So if we have one sculptor that did part of the work and then we pass it on to someone else to fix, change, or finish, it does not actually matter. You know, what we want is the result, and the result has to be a perfect sculpture. And who works on it, if it's just one guy or 10 guys, it makes no difference to me. We're not competing. We are one team, and we want the same goal. So that's why I'm saying once I'm done here, I'm probably gonna pass it along to someone else while I can go and do other things. I have actually already passed my tour, the tour that I was sculpting, to Caleb, and he now is going to be finishing the sculpture by adding all the clothes and armor and everything else that I had not done yet. So as I said, that was a sculpture that I started. I actually borrowed the hammer from Alex Pereira's sculpture that he did for us for the first tour. So I got his hammer, I got his cape, and then I changed the whole position of the cape. And then I got his wings, the wings he did for the helmet. And then I reshaped the whole wings, and then I re-sculpted the feathers and etc. So that's basically how we do things. What's up?
Nothing.
Oh. I think that the notion of one guy sculpting the whole statue and taking credit for the whole thing, it's an old-fashioned notion in the industry that no longer applies. Not today. Today we have several artists working together as a team with one goal, and the results are so much better. Especially when you do it everything digital, that it's so easy. Let's say Alex Pereira lives in Spain. I live here in Idaho, United States, and Caleb Nafzan lives in Colombia. So we can pass the sculpture, and Aaron also lives here. Aaron is actually right there. But I can pass it from here, my computer, to Aaron's computer, and Aaron can send it to Caleb in Colombia, and so forth. So that's the advantage of working with digital sculpture. Okay, I think I've done a lot of moving around here. So now I think I can start the actual sculpture. Well, the first thing I did here to be able to get all the details I want on the sculpture, and that was something that Aaron taught me, was to dynamesh the sculpture. Because if you, after I move it, and we got the mesh all screwed up, and then it's very, very difficult to apply any details on a mesh like that. So I went and then dynameshed the whole thing, and now I can increase the resolution of the sculpture, and then I can apply the details I want, the texture of the skin and things like that. But so I have already done this, and now I'm going to start the actual sculpture. This right arm here is very, very difficult to get right, so you gotta find some references here, and I have a good reference for this here on my page, and that's the one right here. Let's see if I can show you my other screen. That's, now you guys understand why I have 3 screens right there. So this is the reference that I'm using for the right arm. I'm sculpting right now, and I'm going to try to copy those muscles right there on my sculpture here. Yep, so now you know why I have this huge big screen here. Well, that's one of the reasons, but there are other reasons too. I'm gonna need to move the keyboard on my lap here, so I can have access to the keys here with my left hand. And let's go. Let's see. First we change the tool here, we go with play build up, and we decrease the size, decrease the intensity, and a little more, and that's it.
rained like this since I've been out here.
Yeah,
This is East Coast rain.
yeah. It's not normal that kind of rain around here.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for today. It's 8:30 at night. I'm tired, and I want to stop and either go home or do something else. I'm gonna stop for now.